So Sunday was my big day because it was my Andy day, and I was so nervous because it's like Andrew Lincoln and never met him before, and just had to make sure my pictures came out right and whatever. So I got up early that morning and headed out so I could go watch the Andrew and Norman panel. So we left, and as soon as I got there, they let the VIPs in, and I asked them, like, oh, I was asking around, like, the volunteers. I'm like, okay, where do the gold sit? Because they just let us in the room. They didn't really tell us where we would sit. And I knew I would sit up behind the platinums. And this lady told me, she's like, oh, just sit wherever. And I'm like, okay. And I was sitting, like, way far back with the general VIPs, and I could, like, barely see the stage. And I stopped another volunteer. I'm just like, I don't think I'm supposed to be sitting here. And she said, oh, who told you to sit back here? I'm like, some lady over there told me to sit over here. She's like, oh, she's like, okay. So she took me up to the front and actually sat me with the platinums. And she's like, I'm going to sit you here just because that other lady told you to sit back there. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Because I had a really, really good spot. My mom had general admission and she was sitting way in the back. So she actually asked one of the volunteers if there was a spot next to me, if she could come sit up there with me. And she was lucky enough to go sit up there with me too. So the panel, I've only been to one other panel doing cons, and but I've never been to a panel where Norman's in it, or Andy. So it was really, really funny. I'll put some clips in here of it or at the end of the video so you can see that. It was a really, really funny panel. There was this lady in the panel. She was, they say that you can't give gifts or anything like that while there's panels going on, but this lady was like crying and she's being very emotional, and I thought it was just the sweetest thing. Norman and Andy both got off the stage. They accepted her gift and gave her a hug and everything like that, and it was really, really sweet. So after the panel, people started rushing up to the stage because Norman and Andy were taking selfies with people. So I couldn't really get out of my aisle, but as soon as I was finally out of there, I was like running up there, and there was just a crowd of people, like so many people. So I was trying to like push my way through, and there was this guy and this girl, and they had just gotten their selfie, and they're like, they were trying to get out. I'm like, oh, here, you guys can go through this way. So I let them through, and they're like, he's like, honestly, he's like, just shove everybody out of your way and you can get up there. I'm like, okay. So I tried to do that. I was able to get up there, but so I gave Norman my phone so we could take a selfie. And of course I had my flash on, so the flash went off and he thought the picture was done, and the picture turned out really, really blurry, but you know what, it's fine. I think it looks okay, I guess. Um, so after that, we had to run over because they were gonna start doing the Norman and Andy ops that I got, and I was totally lost. I went pose to do for that one. I had no idea what to do. So my mom's just like, oh, have them fight over you. I think that'd be really cute. I'm like, okay. So I kind of wanted them fighting over me. Like one of them was holding one of my arms and the other one was holding my other one, like pulling on my arms. And so when I went up there, I asked if they could do that, and Norman and me were like, yeah, yeah, sure, let's do it, let's do it. So I have my arms out like this, and Norman grabs one of my arms, and then he's like pushing Andy, but I had no idea what was going on because I just felt them like pushing, like actually pushing each other behind me. So I was like laughing, and I just looked terrible in the picture, but it was really cute. When I was leaving the photo op room, Norman squeezed my arm and he started giggling. It was the cutest thing. But this is how the picture came. It was cute. So then after that, I had to get back in the photo op line right after that and do my solo op with Andy. And I was just gonna have him do the hugging pose that Norman did. So when I went up there, I just showed Andy my phone. I'm like, oh, hey, can you do this pose better than Norman? And he's just like, oh yeah, I can do that. So I put my phone down, we took the picture. He just kind of like held me and looked at my face, and he's just like, thank you, thank you. I'm just like, no, thank you. Like it was really, really sweet. And I left the room and I got the picture, and after that, I decided I wanted to go meet, I wanted to go meet Ross Marquand, who plays Aaron. And before I got my Andy autograph, I had to line up for that. So Ross wasn't at his table at the time. I think he was doing a panel or something. So we decided to go get some lunch and wait for him to get back. So by the time we were done eating lunch, he was already back at his table, and we were waiting a while, but of course I was cutting it close again because I had to start lining up for my Andy autograph soon. And we finally got up there in line, and I decided to just to get an autograph and a selfie for Ross. And he was so nice and humble. He was really cool. I told him that how much I loved his character and how underrated I thought his character was, and how much more screen time I think he deserves. And he was just like, "Oh, thank you." He's like, that seriously really means a lot to me. And he looked over the table and he saw my little sister's cosplay, and he's like, "Oh my god, you are just the cutest little thing I've ever seen." And he was like showing everybody, he's like, "Do you guys see her cosplay? Isn't it just the cutest thing? Isn't she so awesome?" And he's like, "Oh, you're my new favorite now," and blah blah blah. And so him and my little sister started taking pictures together, and he just thought that she was the cutest thing. And then him and I got our picture together, and he signed a lithograph to me. After that, we ran over to Andy's autograph line, and waited there for a while. I probably waited about a good hour and a half before I was able to meet him finally. But they got really strict over there. Like, they have his whole booth like curtained off. Like, you can't see him. It's like you have to go through these curtains to be able to meet him or even see him. And they were fine with you like taking pictures from afar while you're in the booth. I was just taking pictures while I was in line. And honestly, like, think that, like, there was this guy, and he was like telling us a bunch of rules. He's like, "Okay guys, you can't he started like making up rules while we were in line. He's like, "Okay, there's no hugging, there's no asking for videos or stuff like that." And they had originally said in their email that he wasn't going to personalize anything. But while we're in there, he's like, "Yes," he's like, "he's going to be able to personalize this time, but you can't have like have him write like quotes or anything like that." Which I didn't really care too much to do because I just wanted his autograph on my magazine. So my mom wanted my little sister to go up there and meet him too with me, but they would not let her in whatsoever because she was a general admission, even though she was just going to let my sister in with me. And so this one nice volunteer let her go through, surprisingly, and she was able to get in line with me. I was even surprised they even did that at all. But Andy saw my little sister. He's like, "Hey, Carol." And my little sister was just being all serious, and we thought he was just being so nice to her. And I was just thanking him for coming out and doing this. And he's like, "Oh, thank you guys. This really means a lot." And he's like, "That's dedication and everything." And he was very nice. It was rushed though because his manager was rushing, but they were allowing people to take pictures of us meeting him. So a volunteer was taking pictures of me meeting him, which I was so glad that they did that. But yeah, from earlier I got that sign. So yeah, it was a really good time. I had a lot of fun. I was surprised I met all the people that I did meet, but I have to say, highlight was meeting Andy, the pictures with him, and of course Norman. They were just all very great people. And even the people that I had met in line were so nice, and just, it's so much better when you spend your time talking to people in line. It makes the time go by faster, and you just meet really cool people. So that's just a quick rundown of my weekend. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you have any questions about Walker Stalker or Walker Stalker Atlanta in particular, how ticketing works and everything like that, you can always just ask me in the comments or DM me on Instagram. I'm Norman_fangirl on there. I'll be going next year as well. So yeah, have a great day, guys.